Phil with Trop Gun. We're going to be taking a look at the Trijicon SRS sealed reflex sight. So reflex sights are nothing new to the market. They've been around for a long time. They're widely accepted and widely used on both rifles and handguns. The Trijicon SRS was primarily designed for rifles, but it can also be used on handguns. We see that in the competition world. However, it often gets overlooked for a lot of its more popular counterparts. It's got some interesting features to it, and we want to take a look and really dive into what those are. There's also some drawbacks to the sight that have been around and been talked about. But we want to focus on what we think are the good aspects of the Trijicon SRS. Really take a look and dive into it. You know, we've all seen video after video and talked about and shot aim point, and we've done a lot of videos with EOTechs and some of the Vortex dot optics and every other company that makes electro-optic dot sights out there. And they're all very, very similar. Of course, the market's changing a lot now. EOTech's having its problems, and a lot of people are moving over towards an aim point style sight. But one of the biggest drawbacks of the aim point, in my opinion, phenomenal sight, probably the best red dot on the market today. But one of the biggest drawbacks to them is their very, very small field of view. So shooting both eyes open, people say, well, that really doesn't make that big of a difference. Well, it does. There's particularly as you start to use that red dot where it really, really shines. You know, EOTech's biggest mistake in their marketing is talking about how good a red dot or how good a holographic sight, as they call it, works up close. When in fact, that's not really what makes a red dot shine. Intermediate distance is where you really see that carbine optic, that red dot optic start to make a big difference. 50 to 200 yards, that's where you're going to really make your money. And a larger field of view, while non-magnified, you know, everybody that talks magnified optics wants field of view. As you zoom up, you lose field of view, and that makes it harder to acquire targets, track moving targets, get better situational awareness. And they think that that somehow goes away with dot optics, but it really doesn't. So in the intermediate distances, the Trijicon SRS, having about the largest field of view out of any of the red dot optics out there, offers some pretty unique advantages, and we're going to check them out. So here it is, the Trijicon SRS sealed reflex sight. It's an all aluminum body, it's aluminum housing. It works out like most Trijicon products. It has a dual power illumination source. Now, most Trijicon run off of either a combination of fiber optics and tritium for anytime brightness, anytime reticle illumination. Some of their sights offer some form of electro-optic, adding a battery to the mix, but what they're really, really well known for as a company is giving you an anytime solution. So the SRS is no different than that. But the difference comes in what the SRS uses to capture that dual source. Instead of tritium or instead of fiber optics, the SRS actually uses a solar panel. Now, there is no illumination otherwise. There's no tritium in this unit. It doesn't use fiber optics. So you do get that good, bright, crisp electro-optic dot that we like to see. Me personally, I've never been a big fan. One of the biggest shortcomings of any of the tritium or fiber optic or combination-based optics, some of the other series of Trijicon and some of the other players out there, has always been a very dull dot. You don't get that with this. It's that electro dot. So you got to be careful, like any other red dot optic. You've got to then be very, very careful with what your setting is, because you can start having wash. Dual power illumination, SRS. It runs, again, an electro dot. Now, they advertise that as a 1.75 minute dot. Pretty difficult to measure, but that is what they claim. And it's a pretty small dot. It's capable of working up close and also out far. It's not overpowering. It's not a 6 or an 8 minute dot, some huge, large electronic orb glowing in the center of the sight. So, Trijicon SRS. We're rocking it here on a first-gen Daniel Defense ISR. I know the Daniel Defense is getting ready to roll out their second generation of ISR, but we've got this one on the range. We use it, and we're going to run the SRS through its paces on this ISR. Let's check it out. All right, so we're on the range here. We're going to give the SRS a try here. I've got it turned on. I have it at a medium power setting, so I'm inside fluorescent light. It's fairly bright, so I need to be able to pick up that dot, particularly on a lighter colored target. We're going to try it in a couple different lighting conditions, but we're going to get running here. Again, we're shooting on the Daniel Defense ISR. You might be wondering, hey Phil, why the Ear Pro? Listen, the ISR is getting a second generation for a reason. It's a great suppressed gun, but as far as suppressor performance, it is still a little bit loud. I am indoors, so I've already lost too much hearing. I'm not taking any chances. When Daniel Defense rolls out their version 2 or their second generation ISR, we're getting some pretty significant drop in that dB. Should perform a little bit better, but I'm still going to play it safe. So we're rocking some Gorilla ammunition, 208 grain Hornady AMAX bullet. This is a subsonic load. So we're going to put the SRS to the test, see how quickly we can pick it up, running the ISR. Here we go. So I have it again on about a medium setting. I'm able to pick that up very, very crisp, make precise shots with it, and do what I need to do. I'm up close, but very, very good acquisition. So I'm going to take some time, just run a couple little quick up drills, see how fast I can pick that dot up and pick my speed up. Here we go. That picks up about like any other red dot. I mean, hey, listen, a red dot's a red dot. The biggest key in that isn't some special magical what it's going to do for you. And again, I'm showing the least effective part, the part of the optic and the advantage of a red dot optic that people don't really understand. It's not quicker up close. I can shoot as fast or faster with iron sights at this distance. It's intermediate. If we had the distance here in this range, that 50 to 200 intermediate, that's where that acquisition speed really, really picks up and makes this dot optic. What you need out of an optic is that it works, that the dot comes on, that it doesn't overpower or create some other visual issues with that and fade out. What you get in this dot is a good, clear field of view. I can tell you it's a lot different. You see a lot less of the sight because of that big tube you're looking down as opposed to some of the other smaller red dot bodies. Comes with a trade-off. You get some extra weight, but you do get a larger field of view. Again, up close, it doesn't matter that much. It's in the intermediate distances that would really, really shine. Ability to see the entire space and what I'm looking at, and then pick my dot up, put it on target, and drive my shots. Okay, you can see we've dropped the lights. We're moving into a low light condition right now, and we're going to put the SRS through its paces. One of the hardest things for any red dot optic to deal with is change in lighting conditions. You may set your red dot level to be great for a sunny day. You step inside a structure, that's now going to wash out and be way too bright. We could change it even further in the use of white lights, so you lower that so that you don't have that wash and that splash on your glass in low light conditions. Now you bring your white light back into the game, and sometimes it's easy to lose your dot. So we've got to find that happy medium. Sights all handle that a little bit better than others. Some are better than the next. We're going to see how the SRS does with change in lighting conditions. So first test we're going to do is we're going to run the SRS all the way down to the absolute lowest power that I can identify a target and then engage that target. I'm going to do so in just a low light setting and see if I'm able to pick the target up. Then I'm going to add in the use of a white light and see if that dot washes out or if it's still strong enough for me to pick it up. Okay, I am able to see my target with my peripheral, and I can see the dot just barely. I can go on here. Tell you what, the ISR might not be the quietest rifle, but it does a great job at dropping flash. How about it? This time the change-up is I'm going to be using my white light and see if that washes out my dot at this very, very low power setting. Here we go. Not too bad. I was able to pick my dot up. It was starting to wash out, and I can tell you that if I had the dot this low outside in sunlight, you'd never see it. So now I'm going to go to the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm going to crank the power up on this and see how much wash I get, how much scatter I get in that lens, and how much extra visual input I get, and how much I wash out on the glass by turning my power all the way up. Simulating my setting, how it would be if I were outside on a bright sunny day, and then I moved it in and stepped inside a building and had to deal with the optic before I got a chance to change the setting on my optic. Okay, I've got it cranked all the way up, but I can tell you right now, I am getting a lot of halo. I have the reflection coming off the inside diameter of the tube, and it's creating a giant red ring to the point where I can shoulder it. I'm losing the target in the identical lighting conditions that I had for the first time before. So all the way up, like bright sunlight, I step inside. It's getting very, very difficult for me to make accurate shots because all I'm seeing is a really, really scattered central dot and a big red halo where it's reflecting off the inside diameter of the tube. Let's see if I can pick up my target. Yeah, I can't see it. I got nothing. I basically have a dot, and the dot is in the upper right-hand corner of what looks like a television square with a ring outside of it. So this setting would be terrible for me if I had to work in low light. Not going to work out for me. Now let's see if there's some saving grace on them and hit it with some white light. See if I'm then able to pick my target up a little bit better and more effectively. So if I'm cranked all the way up like a sunny day, I step inside a building, I haven't had a chance to drop my optic. Let's see if white light can help me out and save the day. White light helped, but I still have that big ring. That's casting a lot of electronic into the LED illuminator, really kicking a lot of light into the inside tube. So what I would tell you running this SRS, you're going to need to avoid, in all possibility, that highest, brightest setting. Daytime sunlight, if that's the only way you can pick it up, and we're getting ready to go out and test. It's a sunny day today. We'll see if we pick it up outside. But I can tell you, once you step inside, the brightest setting isn't going to get the job done for you. We moved the party outside, and as you can see by my squint, I faced the camera, I faced into the sun. One of the biggest gripes with the SRS is that depending on lighting conditions and the angle that the sun hits the lens, you can get a lot of that optical splash and it reflects back into you and becomes very, very distracting. So some of the early complaints about the sight were that. We're out here now, basically what I'm gonna do is shoulder the rifle and do a little spin and see if I can replicate the complaints in that optical condition. I can tell you in testing and taking a look, again, it's very, very bright out today, good bright sunshine. I have to have the optic turned all the way up for me to pick up the dot on any light colored surface. In shadows and dark colored surfaces, I can drop down to about a midpoint, but to pick it up on lighter colored surfaces, lighter tans, still have a little bit of snow melting out here, particularly on that white, I've got to have the dot turned all the way up or I won't see it. Remember though, in low light, when I have the dot all the way up, I get a big red glowing orb inside. So definitely some things to consider with this optic. How you use this optic, really how you use any red dot, but this one has a very, very pronounced splash inside on that maximum setting. Again, darker colored backgrounds, I can pick it up on a medium dot, which would be a perfect for me. Lighter color, I'd have trouble picking this dot up out here in these lighting conditions. So let's see if I can replicate that reflection and that splash. I'm gonna back up here, spin around, and I'm just gonna talk you through it and see what I see. Good here. Directly in line with the sun, I'm still good. Quartering. Okay, there was one very specific angle when I was quartered partially away from the sun. I started picking up reflections inside the optic. Looked like striations and lines of red. So I was picking up some reflection of the LED, something in the glass was causing me to pick that up. But I gotta tell you, otherwise, I didn't see any other distortion or problems depending on the lighting conditions. Again, a lot of the gripe was facing in direct sunlight, it bounces off the reflectors and you get a lot of distortion, not distortion, you get a lot of interference and a lot of that different halo effect, or I've heard described as a square around the reticle. The reticle stayed pretty crisp for me the entire time through all the conditions. Again, it's about 10:30 in the morning, so the sun's not very, very high and it's also not low. So depending on what that angle might look like, I guess you could have problems. Biggest issue with the SRS that I see is the same issue with any red dot, and that's changing lighting conditions. Overall though, it doesn't perform bad. Not bad. I don't have any big problems. I didn't have any washout from different lighting as I was outside either. So the size of the objective, so that big wide field of view, really helped me stay focused and stay on that red dot, and I really liked it. So pretty good sight. All right, so there you have it, the Trijicon SRS sealed reflex sight. Great optic, offers a lot of benefits and some different benefits from some typical red dot sights. Comes with a price tag, but like all things quality, you want to invest in a good piece of equipment that's going to last you, and it's backed by Trijicon's rock solid warranty, so you can be confident in buying this product. So if you like this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well, Trop Gun. Until next time.